Hello, chess enthusiasts! Today we are just going to for Bobby Fischer, Boris Spassky, Game 3. Why didn't I just fear Game 2? Because of actually Bobby didn't agree with and satisfied with the condition of the play and didn't present on Game 2, and it was over. They waited a lot for him to arrive, but he didn't come, and we have the game 3 here. Okay, so in the game 3, it was a tough and somehow strange match between them. Why not go through the game and analyze what did happen in that game? Okay, so let's begin now. We have actually now Spassky having the white pieces and Bobby having black pieces, right? Game one. So if you didn't just review the game one and my analysis on game one, it is better to watch that video. Please also don't forget to like and comment, and please also make sure you have sub to the channel. So now we have the move d4, knight to f6, c4, e6, knight to f3. And here, the game one actually went for actually like this, and Nimzo Indian happened in game number one. So in game number three, Spassky chose knight to f3, and here we have c5 going for the Benoni defense, modern Benoni defense. So c5 is called Benoni defense. And the best move also is d5, knight to c3, and bishop to b4, and we see right the game one. Okay, the game one happened Nimzo Indian. The game just went on, and Spassky could win that game. So now what happens in game number three, round three? So, but let's go back, and as I said, Bobby decided to play and charge Spassky with the move c5. c5, and now we have d5 usual moves. Okay, now takes d6 is played. So if you don't play d6, then but idea is actually sometimes to go d3 and just to uh, somehow suffocate Brad's pieces there. Okay, so but actually sounds very. But d3, for example, isn't. For example, if you play here, d3 is not possible because of queen b6. Okay, for example, if you go here, then queen b6, or simply just knight e4 hitting the pawn on f4 on d6, and if you play bishop to f4, then queen to f6 hitting the bishop and also hitting the pawn once more. So, but this is just played by Bobby, preventing any d6 from white. And we have knight to c3, we have g6, and here we see interesting maneuver. So there are two moves in this round. One is e4, which we will see, okay? But just what did just Spassky played in this position? So pause the video and just think. I hope you have just found it. Yeah. The move is knight d2, so it's kind of going for e4 and somehow preventing the pin of this knight over the queen. Okay, so bishop maybe wants to go here, So if bishop g4 was played by black, then maybe bishop to e2 was somehow mandatory to just get rid of that pin there. But let's see what happens after e4. I have an interesting drawing for you, so watch carefully. a6 by black. He is threatening to go b5, b4. Okay, so we have a4 by white, preventing the move b5 from black. Now bishop to g4. As I said, here comes the bishop, pinning the knight to the queen. So we have bishop to e2, bishop takes on. And actually, white's idea is not go e5. Okay, so black should just capture that. Bishop takes on f3, knight b d7, we have castles, bishop g7, we have queen c2, castles, bishop to e2. Why bishop to e2? What is the idea of bishop to e2? And why bishop e2 is necessary for white? No, because of the move c4. So what does c4 do? c4 actually wants to free a square for this knight to jump on c5. The knight on c5 hits the pawn. So, for example, after rook to e8, you're just pressuring on the pawn on e4. Okay, so bishop to e2. That's the reason why bishop to e3 is just played here. Okay, so rook to c8. We have the move a5, gaining the space on the queen side and just preventing somehow to go here because of the en passant object you just take. I just take the pawn on a6. So now again, anyway, c5, c4 is just played. That's the reason why rook to c8 was just played. And here we have bishop to 4, knight to c5, bishop takes on c4, so giving up the c4 pawn for 3, and after rook to e8, if you play f3 in this position, defending the pawn, then it has issue. Knight to h5, hitting the bishop. You have to play bishop to e3. If you go bishop to d2, then it comes up with trouble. Okay? For example, after bishop to d2, we have this check. After here, we have knight to g3. Okay? And if you take, I hope you. So pause the video for now and just think the best move. What is the best move for black in this position? It is not very hard to find. So use use this idea that this is just blocking this diagonal, controlling the diagonal. So what is the black's move in this position? Hope you just find it. Congratulations. It's rook to e5. So this is just coming there. If you play g4 trying to prevent from coming, then queen to h5, queen to h4 is just checkmate. So what is in serious trouble and has to play right bishop to e3 and rook to f2 to just block this diagonal with rook and to somehow go here king to g1, and this is completely lost. But what if he careful and goes bishop to e3? What happens? The move comes with the move f5. And then this pawn is in serious attack, and if you take, then I'll just take with the rook. Just take your bishop with the rook and just win. So let's go back. The game didn't continue like that. So here knight to d2 was just played. And here we have knight b to d7, e4. So Spassky's idea was just going to 4. Okay, knight here to support e4, bishop to g7. We have bishop to e2, castles, castles, and rook to e8 by Fischer. We have queen to c2. Uh, I just tell you why f4 is not just possible there, because f4 again runs into the pawn sacrifice of c4. First of all, if you take with the pawn, I mean, with the knight on c4, then comes knight takes on e4, knight takes on e4, rook takes on e4. If you take this pawn, then there is queen to b6, double attack, and you are just losing your knights. Okay. However, it is just winning for black, so it is not possible to take with the knight. Okay, it's the worst choice ever. So what happens if bishop takes on c4? We have this idea again, knight to c5, putting pressure on the pawn. So, and one idea is actually to go here like this, okay? So, white plays f5 himself. We have takes, and we have just a move. So, rook takes on e4, and I will just give you time after bishop to d3. What does black has to play in this position? So just pause the video again and just think. What is the best move for black? Congratulations, I hope you have just found it and played like Bobby Fischer. We have bishop takes on f5. Again, and this idea could also be working after queen to b6, king to h1, and bishop takes on f5. Okay, so this idea is also correct and amazing. So what happens after bishop takes on f5? We have bishop takes on e4, bishop takes on e4. After rook to e1, we have the move f5. Yeah, completely dominating bishop on e4. And here's black's idea is to come with bishop to e5, queen to h4, come next. So, and black is dominating this position. So let's go back to the main winder. Uh, so yeah, queen to c2 as I just first played, not the move f4, not the move f4. So Spassky just understood deeply that f4 is not possible. So played the move queen to c2. A better move could be a4, okay? But queen to c2 also a good move. No problem, no seriously major problem with that. We have knight touch, and then this move just every the video, the film that they actually made by this game was Pawn Sacrifice, where Fischer just shot the board by knight to h5. What? Bishop takes on h5, g takes on h5, and what are you doing, Bobby? You have just doubled your pawn of your king side. It's what is this? Fischer's idea was somehow to go change h8, maybe bishop e5 or knight to e5, then rook to g8, and queen coming, bishop controlling, and somehow for when going for the compensation, but it is not good. The better move for Fischer in this position was going for the simple knight to b6. After queen to d3, bishop to g4 offering exchanges. We have f3 avoiding exchange. Then after bishop to d7 coming back, we have a4. And the game could just continues, okay? But as I said, Bobby went for the madness, craziness, going for knight h5. Spass just took it. And okay, we have the first inaccurate move by Spassky, knight to c4. And I'll just tell you why, guys. Queen to d1 for immediately attacking and exposing this pawn is not good because of knight to e5. If you just take, we have bishop to g4 trapping your queen. Okay, so that's the reason why queen to d1, queen takes on h5 is not possible there. So you must be really careful. Please don't forget to like and comment this video, and please also make sure that you have subbed to the channel. That would be just very encouraging. And what other move could be played by Spassky is a4. a4 is actually the best move in this position, gaining a space on the queen side. We have f5 then maybe, but also knight to e5 could be played also. And sorry, but as I said, f5, knight to f3. We have move h6. Okay, so e takes f5 is a threat, and maybe bishop to g5 is another threat for white. But let's go to the main line now. We have knight to c4, knight to e5, knight to e3. Good move. Queen to h4 from Bobby Fischer, and other inaccurate move by Bobby. He could have tried knight to g4 to somehow trying to exchange the knight more immediate and more quickly. Okay. We have f3, knight takes on e3, bishop takes on e3, then we have bishop to d7. And the Balak's idea is to now go b5 in this position because bishop d7 is just played to play b5 in this position, okay? And maybe just queen to d2 is good move. So bishop to g5 is a threat. Now, for example, if you go b5 in this position, bishop g5 is good. If you go, for example, like this, then maybe just bishop to h6, or going for knight to e2, then also keeping in mind that I have bishop to h6 and knight also jumping, and I have queen to g5. So that was not played in the game, and Bobby just went for queen to h4, immediate queen to h4, and here again we see an inaccurate move by both of the players. They made consequent inaccurate moves. Went bishop to d2, along, and Bobby's team was just very happy that Spassky just played bishop to d2, allowing knight to g4. If what happened, and Spassky did actually trade the knight, and Bobby just undoubled his h-pawn with nice structure and going for the win. So we have knight takes on g4, but what happens after? So knight to g4 just is threatening mate, okay? So you must just defend this mate against this serious. What what does happen if you go, for example, h3 is now takes on e3, bishop takes on e3, then f5. 5 coming and f4, f3 is the serious threat, so you just take, I go queen f6 back, okay? You just take this, and the best move in this position, believe it or not, is queen to d1. I'm going for the, so if you just take with bishop, then it takes the pawn, so you have to take the pawn with queen, and again continues, okay? But especially when for knight takes on g4, we have a takes on g4. Now Bobby successfully undoubled his pawn, so we have bishop to f4 now, queen to f6, defending the pawn on the d6. We have the move g3, and this is another inaccuracy by Boris. Spassky. I was completely shocked by his play. g3 completely weakens the dart square over the king. Why g3? The best move was bishop to g3. After bishop to d7, we have now f4, h5, f5, and queen to h6, a to e1, and the game could continue. Uh-huh. Sorry guys, pardon me. But as I said, just the move g3 was just played. We have bishop to d7, a4, good move. b6, rook f to e1, now a6. Now black is actually kind of example. If you play like this, then maybe here, okay? Just expanding on the queen side. So rook to e2, we have b5. Anyway, rook a to e1, queen to g6, b3, rook to e7, queen to d3, and rook to b8. Okay, 8h b5, 8h b5. We have b4, and now c4. It is not good to take the pawn. It is not good to take the pawn because of knight to a2. Knight a2 hitting the pawn. If you just push the pawn, take with the queen. Queen takes on b3. So that's why Bobby didn't take on b4 and then c4 in this position. We have queen to d2 from Spassky, rook to e8, actually doubling the pawn, and in the future, maybe he wants to take the knight and take the pawn on e4. And actually did happen in that game, okay? We have some previous and repeated moves, and now takes. Actually, it was not good to take, it was better for going to bishop to c1, and the idea of bishop to c1 is that you want to go bishop to b2 and go for the checkmate, okay? So takes and queen to b1, we have bishop to d2. Notice that, guys, if you just trade, then it is draw, okay? Because of opposite colored bishop, it is just a draw. So you must know it very well, that you must avoid opposite colored bishop if you want to play for the win. So that's why queen to d3 and queen to e3. But let's go to the main game. What did happen? Rook takes e4, queen takes e4 happen. We have bishop to h6 threatening to go queen to g7 mate. So Bobby had just one choice to defend, queen to g6. Defending the square on g7 there. We have bishop to c1. Now this idea is just right. Okay, we have queen to b1 and just avoiding any bishop b2 and battery threats, queen and bishop battery. Okay, so king to f1, we have bishop to f5. It is bishop to d3 is a threat actually. We have king to e2, queen to e4 check. After queen to e3, we have queen to c2, queen to d2 blocking the check. We have just queen to b3 and queen to d4 and bishop to d3. And in this position, mm, exactly in this position, sorry, Boris Spassky just resigned the game. But why? Why? If you go, for example, king here, then it comes queen to d1, infiltrating and kind of making white in this position. For example, after queen to f4, defending this check, we have just taking on c1, completely winning. If you just play queen d4, I just take, and it's completely winning for black. If you play king to e1, what happens? It just falls with check after here, king to e1, then we have the move b4 and completely crushing white this position. So, and that's the reason why Boris Spassky decided to resign the actual game in this time, this moment. And hope you just enjoyed this video. And actually, the problem for Spassky started when you actually allowed knight exchange, maybe. Okay, so bishop to d2 was not good move. He had to go f3 in this position, avoiding any knight to g4 chance. So hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and comment on this video. See you next time soon. Goodbye for now.